So do you guys know who Christian Nairn is?
Yeah.
The name doesn't sound quite familiar unless I hear the real name.
The real
so
name.
You got to say it.
Yeah. Hodor.
Hodor.
Yeah, he's best known for being Hodor in Game of Thrones.
He's got the best job ever, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have to. I mean,
he says one line.
He gets the money for speaking.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, he says one line.
Imagine that guy shows up for work and he's like, I don't know my lines today. Can someone sort of feed me? I mean, like,
that joke has happened on set a few times. It
exactly.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, line, please, line.
Yeah. Hodor for the 1,000th time. It's Hodor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you may or may not know he's also a house DJ, which I think I first heard about. I don't know. It was a few months back, and I think he started this tour, Rave of Thrones, and it was like I think he started it in New Zealand. I'm like, man, that would be awesome, but that's so far away. Well, it turns out he decided to come to Orlando, so he was here last night. So the wife and I went. Yeah, Hodor can DJ. It's pretty crazy.
Are you a house fan, David? Like, do you regularly kind of like enjoy that type of music and stuff like that? Because I'm not. So it's like if I was there, I probably would want to shoot myself in the face. But I do like electronic dance music in general. Am I like an aficionado? Do I listen to it all the time? No. I mean, I've gone through phases where I've listened to it a lot more than others. I haven't been to like a live DJ set in forever, which kind of leads into this next part of the story, which is not really, I guess, expecting how the evening was going to plan out. So, I'm used to going to concerts, and I get that a DJ set's different. But normally you go to a concert and you'll have like, on the bill or the ticket or something. Hey, the show starts at 9, doors open at 8. That's kind of not necessarily those times, so that's, they kind of give you when the show starts, when the doors open, you can get there early, listen to music beforehand. So for this concert, all it said was 10 p.m., which at first I'm like, man, that seems later than normal, but whatever. But I'm old. I have to work the next morning, but screw it. It's Hodor DJing. I have to see this. Hodor. And so I get the tickets, we go, and I'm thinking it starts at 10. They probably open earlier. We drive by there at like 9. It's like a ghost town. There's no one there. I'm like, Jesus, really? Like nothing? And we just kind of waste some time and get back there about 9:30. Finally, people start kind of showing up about 9:40 and start getting in line outside. So the doors don't open until 10. So we go in at 10 o'clock, and they've got like like a club DJ up there. And, it's fine and all, and people are just slowly trickling in. And then these three girls start DJing. It was odd. I'd never kind of seen this before. They were like DJing in like 15-minute stints. One girl would DJ for 15 minutes, and the other two would just stand behind her, kind of just, kind of bobbing along to her music, and then the next one would take over for about 15 minutes, and they were just doing that cycle sadly, for about an hour and a half.
Sadly?
Well, I say sadly, they were fine, actually, and don't misunderstand me. They were great DJs, but I had to work the next morning. I wanted to see Hodor DJ. I'm thinking he's going to go on a stage at least 11. These girls didn't get started till 11, so Hodor didn't get on stage until 12:30. I was hoping to be out of there like around that time. So, I mean, finally he gets on stage. It was great, but yeah, we saw about 15 minutes of him, and I was like, all right, that's good. We got to go.
Wow.
But, I mean, not that he gets his show. He seems like a cool guy and great music, and I dug it, but yeah, I didn't get to see a lot of it.
Yeah, when you get a time clock to punch the next morning, it's,
Were the tickets expensive?
No, they were $15 a piece.
Oh, money. Okay, that's good. At least throw like $40 or $50. Like, to me, it's like I'd be pissed to go wanting to see somebody and spend like dumb $50 on tickets, and then it's like he doesn't go on and you only see like 15 minutes of his act.
Oh yeah, I would have been a lot more pissed if it had been like that kind of thing. I'd spent $45-$50 on these tickets, and I would have stayed. I'd just not slept. I'd have been pissed about it, and I would be an awful host right now doing this because I wouldn't have slept in 24 hours, but or more. But yeah, it was. It wasn't that bad. I didn't mind so much. I was just bummed because I'm like, man, I want to see his whole set. And he had like, you know, like at the beginning of his set, he had this dude kind of doing this like flame kind of acrobatic kind of thing in front of him with this like long pole with these like little flame things on the end. And I could tell as the show would be going along that you were probably going to see like other acts and stuff while he was DJing. But, you know, I didn't get to see all that. All right. But anyway, enough about my nightlife. It is Sunday, December 14th, 2014. Let's get started. Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, a podcast where each week we chat about the latest happenings in film, TV, and pop culture. This is episode number 115. I'm David Lott. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
Hello, hello.
Jascha Wilson.
Hey, hey, hey.
And Michelle Curry.
What's up? What's up?
How's it going, everybody?
Good. Good to be back again for another week of movie talk.
Good. A couple of quick announcements before we move on to what we've been watching lately. Unfortunately, we won't be recording a show next week. I know it's Hobbit week. Some people may be excited about that. Some people may not so much. But yeah, normally I'd say that'd probably be a big show for us to do. And we'll still talk about The Hobbit the following weekend. But unfortunately, we can't record next weekend. Let's just say it's holidays and family and there's a lot going on. Very busy schedules. So, yeah, we'll be back the following week. And also keep in mind, the week after that, I believe we'll be recording it on January 4th, releasing it on January 5th. We'll be doing our top 10 films of 2014. It's always a good show, a lot of fun. It might be a little long, but it's a good show. So, yeah, keep your eyes out for that. That will be coming up pretty soon.
And yeah, I'd actually like to know what anyone that's listening with their top 10 of the year has been. So when David gives out that email address, that'd be great to hear what everybody else is thinking about.
Anybody has questions, you can always email us, feedback@flickereffect.com, or find us on Twitter, Facebook. We'll answer you. We'll probably, bring up your question during the show or anything you have to say. So yeah, hit us up. Let us know. Well, first, we usually talk about what we've been watching lately, and it turns out we all saw the same movie this weekend. We all saw some other stuff too, but we all saw Top 5, new film written and directed by Chris Rock, starring Chris Rock and many, many other comedians. Bobby, I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on Top 5?
On Top 5, so... Yeah, like you said, it was Chris Rock's movie that he wrote and direct, and I can't think of how many movies he's been the lone star in, but obviously most of them haven't been as well received critically as this one seems to have been. So I was really excited and pumped up to go see it, and what I ended up getting was something that I guess I wasn't expecting, which was more of a story to it as opposed to just like a sort of like a riff, I'm thinking it was going to be like an hour and a half, maybe just of him sort of joking and telling sets and stuff. But it was more of a story, and I was able to get into that story that he was telling. And the fact that he used a lot of his friends to tell this story, I thought was pretty cool. I really enjoyed more of the second half of the film, where he started to really sort of get more comfortable within the realm of the story, and that character being more comfortable and more confident in the type of person that he is or used to be. And so that was like the shining part of the movie. The one criticism I really have for it was the fact that Chris Rock is so loud. Like, he's like almost always yelling. And it's like, you can kind of say your lines without yelling your lines. And that was the one thing that kind of bugged me for the first half of the movie. It was just like, I could never be in a regular conversation with him walking along, because he makes everyone a part of your conversation because of how loud he is. So it's like, dude, like, just calm down a little bit. We could talk, but you don't have to yell. And so that kind of bugged me at first. And then I just sort of fell into the rhythm of the film. But I thought it was really funny. Some things didn't quite work for me, but for the most part, a lot of it landed, and especially towards the end when he got up on stage and he was doing his sort of Chris Rock thing, that really hit home for me, and I just enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
All right, Jascha, what'd you think of Top 5?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and I was really singing his praises like when I walked out of the theater with my buddy, and he, for the first half of the movie, my friend really wasn't feeling it that much. He was like, I'm not really sure. This isn't really what I expected. But by the time, the credits started to roll, he was like, dude, that was really entertaining. Like, it was really a good story. And I understand what Bobby's saying with the whole Chris Rock being loud thing, but I think, honestly, that's genuinely just how he is. Like, and I think he was also playing the part of this celebrity that's been going through turmoil kind of in his life, and he doesn't know how to really just bring it down a notch because he's so used to being the center of attention and needs to be the center of attention, and is trying to make, people take him seriously for other things. But that gets into the deeper parts of the plot. But for the most part, yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I was like, I knew he had wrote and directed it, and I was stoked that he did such a good job with it. Like, it flowed very, very well. The continuity was fantastic. It was funny. Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, I was really, really pleasantly impressed and surprised. Like, I expected it to be good because I've seen Rock 2 or 3 times live. And just the more and more of his friends that popped into the movie and everything like that, I just enjoyed more and more of it. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I think people should go see it. The first thing I did when I walked out was like message my cousins who were talking about going to see it, and I just said, make sure you watch it. You'll love it.
Nice. Michelle, your thoughts?
My honest opinion is kind of mixed on it, really. I think it might be receiving a smidge too much hype for what it is, but like the guys were just saying, it felt like it took a while to kind of warm up to the movie and the flow of the movie and the way it was kind of going, or maybe it was just the movie just took that long to kind of get going to get its feet. But yeah, about halfway through it started getting interesting, and I like all the cameos. There's a lot of good cameos in there, and I like how everybody, certain aspects, they all kind of riff off of each other a little bit, and that was kind of great. And they kind of kept going back to the same repeated theme of their top 5 list for music, like people that they love who'd be in their group. But yeah, I think maybe I might have gone into it after hearing all this praise for it. I might have had a little too many high hopes possibly for it. It was good. I didn't think it was spectacularly great, but it was good.
You thought it was all right, so it sounds like.
Jesus, you sound so convinced. You're like, it was good.
It was good.
It wasn't bad. I'll put it that way. It was not a bad movie. I just didn't think it was a great movie. I don't think it's living up to what I'm hearing.
Like you sound like you're saying like you've been hearing a lot of like almost like awards praise for it. Like,
right.
This should be
and I was like,
nominated for this and that, and you're kind of like, it's good, but let's hold off. So it sounds like.
But I mean, it definitely has some good. I mean, I was laughing. I wasn't in hysterics laughing, but I was laughing. There was some really good humor in it.
Gotcha. Well, basically, I really liked it. Yeah, I like Bobby what you were saying too. I enjoyed the second half more than I did the original, the beginning. I think it shows Chris Rock. Yeah, he's directed a movie before. I forget the name of it. Right? Didn't he direct one feature film?
I thought he may have directed one where it was like someone's funeral.
I think I Love My Wife.
Was that the one?
Yeah, he directed that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I never saw that, but I think it does show in here and there that he's not necessarily he's still a little new at directing, and
sure.
It's got some flaws about it. And like for instance, and this isn't going into any spoilers. Like there's a scene toward the beginning of the movie where he's recalling an event from his past. And the end of the event actually, was kind of the more relevant part of the story and was actually pretty funny and, was entertaining to watch. But like the first part of this story he's recalling, like they're spending all this time at a club. And it's like looking back, it was really just kind of meaningless time. Like stuff like that. Like you could have cut all this. Just really didn't need to be here. And it wasn't even like it was funny moments. Like I get when you have parts in a movie that are like, this is just for pure comedy. It's not really to move the plot along or anything. Like, fine, if it's just for pure comedy, that's cool. But there was a lot of stuff where I was like, you could have done without this and done without that. But Overall, I really liked the movie. I was pretty impressed with it. It was actually better than I expected. I mean, I've been hearing some praise for it, but I was still a little skeptical going in. It was funny, no doubt. It had a lot of humor in it. Was it like a super hilarious film? No. And I think maybe if you're going into it expecting just pure comedy, that's not what this is. Because I don't know, I've been seeing some stuff online, like people complaining, like, "Oh, where's all the humor? It's not that funny." I'm like, it's more than that, you know. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I would say too, Chris Rock, he's funny, he's a great comedian. Is he the greatest actor in the world? You know, I mean, like, you know, there's a good chunk of a decent chunk of the movie later on in the film when he's like just upset for a while, and he's just got this upset face, and it's just very. This got this kind of just this one-dimensional upset face for like a few scenes, and it's just the same. And it's like, yeah, you're really not kind of doing much with this. But you know, he's hilarious. You know, he's a great comedian. He's not necessarily a great dramatic actor. But yeah, overall, I still really liked it. I was very impressed with top 5.
I would say Chris Rock's defining moment in terms of being considered a good actor was in New Jack City when he played that crack addict. What was his name?
I haven't seen that in so long.
Pookie. He was good in that. Like that was one of my first exposures to him in film, and I thought he just did that role so well. But yeah, ever since then, he's almost just Chris Rock playing whatever this particular part is, and. Like you said, with this movie, it's not supposed to be like a stand-up, an hour and a half of stand-up. It's an actual film, and it has a story, and there's laughs in it, but there's more to it than just the laughs. And that's what you should go in expecting is an actual film from Chris Rock, and something that was actually good compared to some of the stuff where it maybe seemed like he might have been trying too hard. And this just almost felt like it was just him, and it was effortless.
I will say I did like, I mean, when you were saying, you know, he wrote it and directed and everything, I will say at the very, 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 very bitter end of the movie, I like how it finally rolled back to something from the very beginning. It finally like brought the whole thing together literally in the last 10 seconds. Yeah. And it finally related back to something at the beginning of the movie. And I was like, oh, now we've come full circle and we have the stories completed.
That was
good. But
I loved how it ended. It was a great moment at the end of that film. I have to
say, I will give him that. That was very well done.
Yeah.
Well, and there was a nice other aspect that happened in there that I wasn't expecting as well that I won't say. But, yeah, the whole narrative of the film, I was just expecting a sort of straightforward portrayal, and then something happens, and you're just like, oh, okay. That kind of caught me off guard. And so then you go from there and things unfold in the way that you kind of would expect them to. But still, I just thought that they handled that aspect of it pretty well, too.
Yeah. And like you were saying, Michelle, the cameos in it were great. I mean, there's a ton. Yeah. There's a lot of people that show up in this movie. And
the jail one was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Seeing Seinfeld make it rain was great.
The moment in the prison toward the end of the film, I won't say what actor it was or person.
Yeah, no, don't. But that was fantastic. All the cameos were just great.
Yeah.
Was not expecting it. Just totally fantastic. Agreed.
Yeah. And Rosario Dawson, I usually like her work, and she was great in this.
Yeah.
She was a good casting choice for this flick. She's really good in it. So. Top 5. I dug it. I mean, Jascha, it sounds like you enjoyed it probably more than any of us. Would you say you feel like it's like an Oscar-worthy type film, or no? You know?
Oh, absolutely not. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I just enjoyed it. Like, I mean, I would recommend it to some of my friends who like Chris Rock, but I would tell them basically everything that I've said, and maybe even include some of your guys' opinions, like, because they're all very valid, and they have actually shined a little bit of light onto some of how I viewed the movie as well, how I will view the movie now. But I did like it. I mean, I did enjoy it. But do I think it's Oscar worthy or anything like that? No, absolutely not. I don't think so. I mean, and not to take anything away from the work, because I was impressed. But I mean, I really do feel it was like almost like Chris Rock playing a different version of himself that was going through, a stressful time or, a problem. but it was still something that I enjoyed because, again, I like Chris Rock, and I enjoyed all the actors and the dynamics that they have of the dynamics that they had in the movie and stuff. So it was interesting. It was fun. I liked it, especially the cameos. But what I say is Oscar worthy for anything like script or cinematography? No, absolutely not. It was just a fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah,
gotcha. Well, the other new release this weekend was Exodus: Gods and Kings, a new film for Ridley Scott. Bobby, you got a chance to see this just before the show, I think.
I did. I was just literally, this is coming hot off the presses. I just finished watching it no more than about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Nice. Well, how was it?
It was long. It was a typical, epic biblical film where everything that happens in it, you kind of see because you've seen this story told before or this story. So it's not like you're getting any surprises on screen. All this movie really does is update a classic telling of that story. And for that purpose alone, I'd say it does what it needs to do. The film itself, I thought was good. It was big in scale. The acting was great. It did take me a while, really a long while, to settle into the aspect of behind the whole controversy of having the white actors play these main roles, because it is off-putting and kind of jarring when everyone else is not white and playing a subservient role, and then you see them and they're white skin and just not looking the part that you would think. But that being said, they still did such a solid job with the acting. And Joel Edgerton, he just really, I've seen him in stuff, but this is the first time I've really seen him up front and close. And he just did an excellent job as Ramses. To me, he stood out more than Christian Bale did as Moses. But still, Christian Bale still did a solid job as Moses. But yeah, just Edgerton as Ramses just was really, really good. And there's not too much to really say about it. Like I said, it's a retelling, and it's made better by the fact that they can afford more for the special effects and the budget is there. And the story is pretty straightforward to what you have heard. I mean, there's some different takes here and there and some twists. What I will say is that what I thought was interesting is how they handled the whole plague aspect, because they do it in a way where it's almost not like as if God was doing these things. It's almost like it's a natural science to it, because you have this blood in the water. And so because the blood is there, it kills all the fish. And because the fish die, and the blood is contaminating the water, then you have the frogs coming out of the water because they can't live in there. And so they're out in the city, and that causes one thing. So it's almost like a chain reaction, and trying to explain it in almost a scientific way as opposed to a godly way. But I mean, God is present in that film. And so that he's behind these things. And it was interesting the way they decided to portray God in this movie. I don't know that I quite like that, the way that they went about it. But aside from that, it's still a solid movie. And if you like that story or have any interest in it at all, then it would be worth checking out.
I would say the overwhelming theme in the reviews I've been seeing, I haven't read a full review, but just kind of coming across titles of reviews and stuff I've been seeing for it. It seems like the overwhelming theme is that it drags and it's just long and it feels long. And that's, I mean, you started off your review saying, hey, that was a long movie, but it sounds like maybe that didn't bother you, or do you feel like it really could just be a lot shorter?
It definitely could. There's places where you could chop it up and make it a shorter film for sure. I just think that it's one of those things where I think people almost expect it to be long because it's such an epic tale, and they feel like it needs to be long. And by they, I mean the people who made the film, like a Ridley Scott or something. It's I think he would feel like if he made this 2-hour film that he'd be somehow cheating it or leaving something out. But there's definitely aspects and things that could have been shortened or taken out to make for just a more streamlined film, and it could have still worked just the same. But it's one of those things where I think going into it, you kind of know that it's going to be long and epic in that sense, but it doesn't play as well as another type of a long movie that has more action to it or so that you don't feel the longness. With this, with there being talking and different things going on, you can kind of feel it, and it does sort of drag, and you feel that drag. But that's because of the nature of this film compared to something like maybe a Lord of the Rings, where you have more things going on that are at stake, where you don't know the story,
right.
So you're not knowing what to expect, and so you're just going along with it. Whereas this, you kind of know, and you're kind of waiting for those particular beats in the story, and how long it takes to get from point A to point B may feel like a really long time.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, this is a movie that coming into the weekend, I had wanted to see, and I still am interested in it. But it's one of those things where then as the weekend approached and it got here, I just started to see more and more fairly negative reaction to it, to the point that I've kind of lost interest.
It kind of turns you off to it.
Yeah. So, and
I've actually experienced the same thing.
When I came to when the weekend finally got here, I'm like, well, I'm probably only going to fit one movie in, so I'll do top 5, and maybe I'll probably see Exodus at some point on video or something. But probably not in the theater at this point. All right, moving on. Michelle, you watched a couple things this week. What did you see this week?
I was blessed with getting a cold this week.
Aw, look at you.
Yeah. So I was.
You mean like blessed as in Hachu bless you, or blessed as in you were lucky?
Blessed as in I felt like I was dying, but I didn't have to go to a job, so I got to sit on my couch and watch TV and movies for 3 days. So blessed in the fact that I got to catch up on things that I was way behind in, and watch other things that my significant other had no desire to watch. And I finally got to go, I finally get to watch it because he's at his job and I'm just on the couch. Woohoo. But anyway, so got to see a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while now, actually. And I'd heard about it, and then fairly shortly after I'd heard about it, Dave had told me about it, and he said he loved it. And I was like, okay, well, that's good. I like it. I like it when Dave likes things. Let's try it out. So Snowpiercer is now on Netflix. And again, I don't know. Maybe I was too hyped up for it, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great. And I was telling Dave, I said, maybe I'm getting to a point in my life where I've seen just way too many movies, but I felt it was kind of predictable. I quickly saw where it was going, but overall it was good. Like I liked the concept of it, especially like kind of the art in a way, the way it was done, the train itself. Maybe have you guys seen it, Bobby, Jascha?
Oh yeah, we did a whole review on it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
we loved
yeah.
it.
And so
Watch what you say. We all love this movie.
Yeah, I liked it so much that I saw it was on Netflix and was thinking about watching it again.
See,
that's how much I enjoyed that movie. I was just like, oh, that was a pretty crazy movie. I think I should watch that again. Maybe I should watch it again. I don't know. Well, maybe when I have time.
Well, I like the way they did the train. I thought it was just really neat. I love the distinction between the cars, and I'm always kind of a sucker for movies that are talking about kind of like the class system that almost every society has, and the friction that goes on between those class systems, and how important, unfortunately, that they kind of wind up being. And I always kind of like that kind of social commentary on things. So I think that's interesting. But will I watch the movie again? Actually, I could see myself watching it again. Not like anytime soon, but yeah, I could watch it again. But I didn't think it was great, but I did like it. It was enjoyable.
All right.
Yeah, I have to say about that.
That'll be acceptable with us.
I mean, sorry.
Well, I like that you at least liked it. I mean, you're not saying anything negative about it, and which makes me think, what made you, what did you find predictable without spoiling anything? But like, what was it about the story that you were just like, okay, I kind of can see where these things are going?
Without spoiling anything, that's going to be kind of difficult.
Well, in just a general sense, like
in general,
is there
at some point?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
No, Bobby. I'm sorry. Answer.
No, I was just
give me the full question without me interrupting you. How about that?
No, I was just gonna say, was there a particular point in which you saw things to where you're like, okay, I can kind of see that this is going to go in this direction, and then it sort of bears out for you? Like, was there a particular part that you started seeing these things going in a certain sort of way?
Okay, yeah. So the basic, we'll just put it this way. So for our listeners, there's an uprising between a lower class, and they're trying to move up through into a hierarchy of the classes. And so there's an uproar, an uprising. So in the rioting time frame, probably they go through the club cars. They get to like the first club car, and they kind of fight everybody, get through. They get to the big club car with like the really big bad guys, and they've got all the big weapons, and they start fighting. And then the lady who's kind of the voice of the main guy who runs the train starts talking. And I don't know, there was just this moment, and she said something, and it was about percentages. And it was just kind of the way she was always talking about the guy who was in charge, and the way she had him on a pedestal, and the way everybody should just kind of bow down to him. I just had this clear moment of going, I think I know what's happening here. And I was like, this is all so very Willy Wonka to me. So that's kind of when I caught on. I started thinking about it. Like and then as the movie continued to progress, I was like, yep. I started getting more validation, like as I was watching it, kind of going, yep, they're going to go this way. And then by the time they finally reached the head car, the main car, that's when I was like, oh, yep, this is exactly what's going to go down. I know it. So
okay, well, I have a follow-up question to actually not just you, but to David and Jascha too. Like, that's happened, I'm sure, to all of us, where we're watching a film and we kind of start seeing where things are going to go. Does that, when you start to be able to see how something's going to happen, does that make the movie less for you, or does it ruin it for you, make you like it less, or does it make you feel like, hey, you know, I kind of feel validated that I was able to sort of figure out where this was going to go before anyone else may have been able to do so?
I have a love-hate relationship with that. Like, I can't stand it if I figure out the movie, like, wholeheartedly, just, like, figure it out. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And I know what's going on. However, if it, like, if I can kind of, you know, like she was saying, like, have this feeling for it, or, like, you know, I think it's kind of going this way, that doesn't bother me so much. As long as I'm not dead on right and I've figured out, like, the end of the Sherlock Holmes movie before it gets there, like, that bothers me.
Yeah, I think that's tough to answer, because I think it depends. I mean, I've seen movies where maybe I can kind of predict things about it, but I can still enjoy the movie for what it is. And then there's other movies where it does bother me a lot. And the first movie that comes to mind is The Village. M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. And I mean, the ending of that was something I feel like early on I kind of thought of. But I thought of it in this way where I was just like, yeah, maybe that's it. But they're not going to do that. That's ridiculous. And then that came to be, and I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me. And then there's times like that. It bothers the shit out of me. So I don't know. I think it depends. I will say, though, if I am watching a movie with someone who maybe suddenly has a realization of, oh shit, I see what's going on here, and feels the need to share that epiphany with everyone else, I cannot fucking deal with that. Like, oh man, that annoys the shit out of me. And I know people that are that way, and and they're proud of themselves. They just have this moment where they're like, oh my God, I get it. And they just have this need that they have to share it with everyone around them. And it's like, they just can't help it. And I can sympathize with that. But you got to curb that somehow until the movie's over. Like, another M. Night film. I saw a film. I saw Unbreakable with some friends, and it was just four of us in the theater. And sure enough, earlier in the movie, this one friend had a realization of what Samuel L. Jackson's character really was and what he was doing. And I mean, she just let it out there. And I'm like, I looked over, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, really? I'm like, that kind of thing, I can't deal with that. Just side note, kind of, I had to put that out there.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I felt about The Happening, or whatever it was called, like with Mark Wahlberg.
Let's rip M. Night apart. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Man.
I watched it with my dad, and we were there, and almost at the same time that I was saying something, some guy in the theater, we both almost said it loud enough for both of us to hear. It was like, we're both like, this better not be about fucking plants. and it was like, and we just like, my dad bust out laughing. I just bust out laughing. And the entire audience actually just kind of laughed. And when we walked out, everybody was just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like how, easy it was to basically figure out. And then once it was figured out, it's just like, this is just ruined.
You know what's so bad? I feel bad for M. Night a lot of times because he gets so much crap, and and some of it is justified for sure. But where I'll give him credit is that he at least tries to do these things where he's trying to give audience an experience, and obviously he fails in the execution of it. But it's like something where you're trying to go into a film where you're trying to shock the audience, and that's kind of a hard thing to do when millions of people are seeing it. People are going to be able to figure it out because you're not the only one who can kind of come up with an idea where it should go this way, and then bam, we'll give them this. Especially when people start knowing that's what you're known for, then they're going to look for it ahead of time and trying to figure it out. So, I mean, it does suck that he sort of screws the pooch a lot of times when he does it, but I give him credit for at least trying it, going down in flames pretty hard with it.
It's rough to watch because I really dug M. Night I don't hate all of his movies. I mean,
me either.
I mean, I don't think any of us do. I mean, I think pretty much everybody and their mom loves The Sixth Sense, and I enjoyed Unbreakable. I actually really like Signs, and I know Signs is a movie that a lot of people aren't big fans of, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I loved Signs.
Yeah,
I thought it was brilliant. Like the way it all came full circle and came together. I'm right there with you, David. Like I was like, dude, this is awesome.
But then it got to a point, like you're saying, Bobby. Like was The Village after Signs? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
And with The Village, that was kind of the point for me where it was like, then it was just like, okay, dude, you can stop with the surprise, like. Do something else, you know? And that was like everything he was doing was about that. And like you're saying, you start looking for it. Mm-hmm. I'm in the beginning of The Village, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, how could he do this and be like a shocker? Oh, this, I'm like, you're planning on it and you got to kind of go somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, like when The Sixth Sense came out, nobody knew what was going to be going on. And I think for the most part, nobody wanted to spoil it for everybody else. Everybody kind of tried to let everybody go and enjoy it and really kind of let them all figure it out. The worst was, though, like, I saw it, and I was working at the movie theater at the time, so I got to see it, like, opening night. And I'm sitting there, and I figured it out in the first, 15 minutes of the movie. And I sat there the whole movie with my date with my mouth shut, and it finally ended. And he's like, I did not see that coming. And I was like, yeah... You're like an hour and a half behind me. And he was like, you're kidding. And I was like, I knew it from the first few moments of him and the kid being in the shot together. And he's like, you're kidding. I'm like, no.
That's crazy.
Then,
wow.
I know. And then I saw other M. Nights, and I didn't, Signs kind of took me by surprise. Like, I really didn't piece that one together at all. And I was like, man, I'm slipping. But I was like, man, I'm slipping, I didn't figure that, it happened. And I was watching in amazement the whole time. And I was like, wow, I did not put that together at all. That's awesome. So I loved it. I love Signs. And I actually really enjoyed The Village, even though I figured that one out pretty quick too. But I still enjoyed it. I still watch that one. I'm like, oh, I think it's enjoyable. I like the concept of it. I think is the idea is what I like. But,
The Village for me, I think the biggest problem, it was a mix of me figuring it out too early and being annoyed by kind of what he did and how it was marketed. That was one of those films that was marketed in one way, that it was going to be almost like this horror film.
Right. Yes,
and I was looking forward to that, I was really like, man, this is going to be a cool kind of M. Night film to see. And it totally was not that.
Yeah.
So to see, everybody and their mom has seen The Village at this point, but to see that these things really aren't those things, and they're not really around. It's like, what? Come on!
Yeah, I do remember it being that way. That was kind of a bummer. Yeah, I remember it was very like, this is going to be a scary horror movie. Yeah, I do remember that now. But I mean, I still enjoy it. I like the idea of the village, and I figured out Unbroken pretty early on too. But I love that one. Not Unbroken. Unbreakable. Sorry.
I figured Unbreakable out, and I didn't particularly care for that one. Like, I didn't really like.
I still like it. I think that's the comic book nerd in me, and I like it for those reasons. But I don't know, poor M. Night. But the whole into this whole question is, I think I'm particular about too. Like, it depends on how much of a level I've figured out the movie. If I've just kind of got the gist of it, I'm kind of like, oh, I think I see where this is going. I can still kind of enjoy it. But if I can go, she's going to say something like this, and he's going to say something like this, and I can pretty much write the rest of this movie down verbatim without actually even knowing what's going on. I'm like, that always makes me sad. That just makes it. Yeah. That means there's just bad writing. The script wasn't proper. The act just means everything's not going the right way it's supposed to. I should not be able to figure out what they're even going to probably even say. That upsets me. But yeah.
Yeah. So if you can dictate the script, that's a problem. That's a big one.
I've seen one or two movies where I've sat there and I've been like, oh, he's probably going to say something along these lines. Oh yeah, and she's going to repeat with something or respond with something like this. Yeah, that's what she said. Okay, yeah, this is over. But I don't know. It depends on the movie. If I can, I did like that it was Snowpiercer. It's like I kind of saw where it was going. I saw the idea of it, but I still enjoyed watching it get to that point. But I don't know. It was good. Wasn't great.
Never would have imagined a conversation about Snowpiercer were to turn into a conversation about M. Night.
Yeah, that's a real far stretch. Yeah, it took a whole adventure. I was just thinking about that too. I was like, man, we took a whole adventure to get and start talking about.
You never know where you're gonna go.
Oh, M. Night.
Oh yeah. You also saw something else on Netflix.
I did. I saw something that was another movie that I'd been interested in. And was very excited to see that it was on Netflix. It's called The One I Love. And I really wish I wrote down who was in that movie and who directed the movie, because now I sound like an idiot. But if you've ever watched the TV shows The West Wing or the other one that she's in,
Elizabeth
Mad Men.
Moss.
Yes, Elizabeth Moss.
And Mark Duplass is in it.
Mark Duplass, yes. And he and his brother produced it, and he directed it?
No, Charlie McDowell directed it.
Oh, okay.
He does really fun independent stuff, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, irregardless. Okay, so this movie, to give you a quick summary, because I don't know if anybody's really even heard of this. Have you guys heard of this one yet?
No.
I have.
Quick synopsis is that this couple who've been together for a while are having some issues, and so they go see a therapist. And the therapist recommends that they take a extended weekend vacation to a vacation home that he apparently owns, and he sends all his couples up there when they're at the end of their relationship, and they're trying to salvage what they can. And he sends them there, and he says, just going to change everything. And they go, and pretty quickly things start to kind of unfold, and I can't really go much further into it without giving away stuff. Overall, I liked it, actually. I liked it a lot. I was surprised I liked it as much as I did. I think anyone who's ever been in any type of a long-term relationship, not necessarily a marriage, but just any long-term relationship could sit there and go, I can relate to some of these thoughts. I totally understand where they're coming from in this aspect. And yeah, it's really good. The writing is excellent. So good. The script is amazing, and the story's really good. And yeah, I recommend it. It's a good afternoon watch or good evening watch. Just a weekday, let's watch a nice little movie. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you're the second person in the last 2 or 3 weeks to mention that movie to me and how good it is and how I need to see it. So I guess I need to see it.
I mean, it's not greatness. I'm not going to say let's give it an Academy Award or anything, but I mean, it's enjoyable. I liked it.
Yeah, you sound like you liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
that's all you need for a movie. I mean, as long as you enjoy it. I mean, you didn't feel like you wasted your time, then that's great.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend watching it. I did not feel that I wasted my time watching it. I was like, wow, that was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Safety Not Guaranteed?
I want to see that. See, that's another one I want to see.
That's a good one.
I've heard
is a good
it's
one.
really good. Oh, see, now I got to go see that one for sure now.
Well, I'm just like, if you like him, then you'll definitely like that because he's in that one as well. And he, like I said, he does really fun independent stuff. So it's like, and that was a very independent film movie, and that was fantastic. Like, so good.
I had never heard of him until this movie, and now there's another movie that's coming out that he's doing, or is it a TV show that's going to be running on a network? I think.
Well, he's in the league.
Yeah,
right?
He's hilarious in the league.
Yeah. No,
he's fantastic in the league. He's also in the Mindy Project occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
There's another one that he's doing that's coming out, and I saw a quick preview for that at some point, and I was like, that looks amazing. I guess it's coming up
Wedlock?
soon.
Wedlock, yeah.
I see that on his
his
resume here.
Maybe
I don't know
that's
what
it
this is,
was.
but
I think so, because it was kind of about couples a little bit. It looked interesting, too. That one looked kind of quirky.
yeah.
I like the quirky things.
Quirky.
Makes it interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of, have you seen, Bobby, you were talking about Joel Edgerton. Have you ever seen Animal Kingdom?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Go see Animal Kingdom. It is excellent. It was, I remember whatever year it came out. It was right here in front of me, 2010. I want to say it was nominated for something. I don't remember what.
Is that right?
It was it's an Australian film, I think.
Oh, there we go.
And I want to say it was probably the first film that we American audiences got to see him in. But it's a really, really good flick. Definitely check that out. Joel, he's in it, and Jackie Weaver. It's the first time I ever seen her in anything. She's in that film. I thought of that when you were talking about him. Yeah, Animal Kingdom.
Okay, I'm writing that down right now, and I'm writing down the one I love. And Jascha, I want to get one from you because we're gonna have a little break here, so I'm gonna catch up on some movies. So, what's that movie that you really love from Tom Hardy that everyone seems to say is like his breakout performance? It's like a fighter or something.
Bronson.
There we go. All right.
I have to see that too. I've had a lot of people tell me to see Bronson.
Okay.
Holy shit, that movie is dark. That movie is dark. It is dark. It is dark. It is dark. It's just a messed up story because it's true. Like, that's the film.
Yeah, Nicholas Winding Refn directed that one. Michelle's favorite director over here from Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see that.
Okay.
Cool. Well, moving on. Mad Max, Fury Road got a trailer this week. We had kind of gotten a short teaser trailer, a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, and a longer trailer came out this week, which, showed a lot more of some of the footage like we saw at Comic-Con, though not all of it. But what'd you guys think of this? Well, Michelle, had you seen anything from Mad Max, or probably saw the other teaser from before?
I only saw the other teaser. I haven't seen this new one yet. But I am interested in the movie for sure. It's Mad Max. I gotta see it. I have to.
Oh, okay, so you are a Mad Max fan.
I do. I like that. Yeah, I mean the original is great. I didn't see the little sequels that kind of happened after that, but I saw the original and I like it a lot. So I am looking forward to this reboot.
Jascha, what'd you think of it? Did you see the new trailer?
I did. I saw the old one too. I'm excited. I mean, the movie looks really good. I mean, I remember watching Mad Max when I was younger, but I was also really, really young when I saw it. I haven't rewatched it since I was older, but I enjoyed it when I was a kid. Probably shouldn't have been watching it when I was a kid, but I did anyway. And I'm looking forward to it because I like Tom Hardy, so I'll give him a chance in anything that he does. Like, just because I think he's a fantastic actor and he really jumps into a role. So I'm looking forward to it.
Bobby, what'd you think about? I mean, I guess you saw the stuff I saw this summer, so not a lot of new stuff, but.
Well, yeah, to echo a lot of what Jascha was saying, it's the same thing where I saw it as a kid, and I don't think I could understand it and all the themes that were going on quite as well being a kid. And I haven't revisited it since I've been an adult, but I do remember liking it as a kid, but mostly when the action scenes were there. A lot of the dialogue and stuff probably went over my head at that time, but I've always liked the series. So this new one, it just looks phenomenal just in the sense of the scale of it. And to me, it just looks like it's Demolition Derby on an epic scale, because it's like you see all these vehicles and the smashing into each other, and it's just this whole Armageddon feel to it, and it just looks like it's going to be a thrill ride. I mean, and we're getting it early in the year, so it looks like it'll be one of those films that really start getting you pumped and amped up for the rest of the movies that are going to come out for the next year.
Yeah, I forgot how soon this is coming up. May 15th.
I think it was March.
Yeah, it's May 15th.
May.
Yeah,
it should be out soon. It should. I think I remember seeing it was coming out. Really,
yeah, May 15th.
Right
it'll be here. So, man, that's a lot earlier. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was later in the year. That's awesome. Because I can't wait. I think it looks amazing. That stuff we saw at Comic-Con was just nutty. Awesome.
What'd you say? We don't have a trailer for what, Jascha?
And we still don't have a trailer for Batman vs. Superman. That's Bobby's line, and I'm still stealing it. I still I loved it last week.
To fit this in here somewhere.
And we still won't have a trailer for Batman vs. Superman.
Every week, Dave. Every week for the next year plus.
Because never mind. I'm not even gonna go.
You're gonna start going down that road again.
I know. I almost did. I caught myself. Oh man.
I'm enjoying my DC TV. That's all I need right now. I'm good.
Hell yes. The season finale for Flash and Green Arrow were fantastic.
Absolutely. Oh man, you gotta catch up.
Yeah, I'm right there. I'm 2 episodes behind in each show. I'm right there.
Close.
I'm close. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's a ways off. But that's Marvel, so, whatever. I'll get to that one.
I know you're really not trying to talk bad about Marvel.
No, I'm not. Hey, I have said it before. I'll say it again. I am not, trying to play the, hey, I'm DC, or no, hey, I'm Marvel. Fuck that shit. I like both. Sure, I read a lot of DC as a kid, and I know it better. But I love Marvel. Marvel's great. But it still pisses me off that DC movie shit's got to get its act together. But hey, it's going to be awesome. We're almost there. I hope.
Sooner or later.
Speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you saw you caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., didn't you, Jascha?
I did.
How's that going for you?
It's time that I'll never ever be able to get back.
How far behind were you? Had you been? I mean, did you have a ton of catching up to do, or?
I was a couple of weeks. I was trying to stay consistent with the shows that I was watching, and then if something fell to the wayside, like S.H.I.E.L.D., then it's okay, well, I'll get back to it as soon as I can. But I didn't want to lose my place on other shows, and I needed to catch up on Green Arrow, or the Arrow, excuse me, and I wanted to make sure that I stayed on top of Flash because I was really enjoying the show Flash. So once I got caught up with those, once I had the time, I got caught up on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And honestly, I could think of about 15 other things that I could have watched besides watching Marvel's S.H.I.E.L.D. And I wouldn't have missed out at all. I'd be just as happy with the time I spent watching the show as listening to Bobby just tell me what happened in the show. I would do that. I would be completely content. I don't need to see it. I just don't. Sorry, man.
I know you guys have very different opinions on this show.
Yeah, we do, and I'm sad that he doesn't like it as much as I do because we're literally on the opposite ends because I can't get enough of it. It's the first thing I watch on my DVR. I'm just so tied into it, and the way this season they've been delving even closer to their comic book roots and really making it start to feel like it could be a superhero show. I mean, I'm just every week I'm just looking forward to it more and more. So I don't know. To me, it just seems like it went from season 1 to being decent and okay to season 2 just really being on another level and embracing more of the comic book aspect of it. So I don't know. I mean, it sucks that he doesn't have that same sort of enjoyment from it because I'm just so enthralled by it right now and just picking up on everything and going to the forums and the comments and seeing everyone's theories about who this character might be and who that character might be. And it's just, I'm just digging it so much.
Maybe that's why I'm not that into it because I don't know where they're going with some of these characters or who these people are. Also,
we'll talk off there. I'll tell you.
Okay. I don't like the character Sky. I think her whole storyline is bullshit. There's nothing interesting about her character. It's just drawn out. I would rather watch somebody else, the show be centered around somebody else. but her, because I just find it so generic and so predictable. It's like, oh, she's been missing her father, and now her father's here. Oh, he turns out to be some sort of crazy sociopath. It's just like, I just don't buy any of it. I just can't get behind any of it. I think she's a horrible character. I think everybody else is cool. Like, I like the whole Ward aspect, the dynamic of that. I like the SHIELD part of it. I like all the agents. But everything about Skye just seems so just plain and generic. Like, they just trying to force this heroine on you. And I just don't believe it. Sorry, guys. That was really
now that you kind of say that, I actually kind of agree with you. I mean, I really enjoyed the first season, and I'm gonna work on the second season in the next few weeks. But I kind of agree with you, and it might be it's the actress. I don't know, but yeah, it does kind of feel like, oh, little orphan Annie.
Yeah.
Let's make her get a family.
Yeah. And it's like this all of a sudden, it's all about her, and like, oh, she's the key, and all this other crap, and you're just like, I'm like, seriously, are you kidding me right now? Like, it just seems so forced, and I just can't with it. Like, it doesn't do it for me. But like the other parts of the show, Bobby, like, hands down, the special effects, the fighting, the bringing in the Kree, the Ward is the double agent, all this other crap. It's like, dude, I'm behind all of that. I just can't get behind this character storyline of Skye because it's just so generic and so boring. It's just, it doesn't do it.
Yasha, you've got the gears in my head turning now. I'm kind of thinking, I kind of
revisit it.
Think about it. Yeah, you got me thinking. Yeah.
And I'm the one guy who hasn't been watching this.
God damn it, David.
Yeah. I'm gonna before the mid-season break is over, I'm gonna catch up and I'm gonna settle this.
All right.
We'll see.
All right.
I would be amazed if you could catch up with all of this.
Well, here's the thing too. Wow. Because Michelle hasn't caught up yet either. So
yeah, but I've only got a
whole season,
12 episodes to go.
That's
I could sit down and I could rock out the first season in a few days, maybe. It could happen.
Could you get both seasons done?
And then I got the other, maybe.
It's only
is this a challenge?
It's only, what is it? It's like it's a mid-season break now.
When's the break end? Do we know when the break ends?
Yeah, I do. I think it ends in March.
February. Oh no, I'm sorry. I mean the break. So the show doesn't come back till March?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, yeah, you could totally do it by then. I thought you were saying, I'm sorry, I've read this all wrong. I thought you were saying you're going to be able to watch season 1 and season 2 between now and the end of this year.
Oh, no.
And knock those bad boys out whilst the holidays.
I mean, in my head, I was thinking that the show was coming back like in February or something.
Well, I mean, it might come back in late February. I think it's March, but it could be late February.
Oh, yeah.
But
honestly, I was imagining like, I could probably do this by mid-January.
You could totally do it then. I was thinking by the end of this month, basically. I was like, no way. Like, I was sitting here going, no way with the holidays.
I'll be lucky to watch the first episode by the end of this year. But January, I could probably fit it in.
Calendar's open.
Yeah. But I do have a lot of other stuff to catch up on. I'm going to bump it up right after I get done with Arrow and Flash. Agents is next. I will completely catch up on Agents.
I'm holding it
because I'm curious about this stuff that I know what's going on, and I know the movie it's tying into right now that Bobby really wants to talk to me about. I know, even though I don't know what's happening in the show, I know what's up, so I gotta watch this. We'll see. I take it you guys remember when we talked about the Krypton show. That was a few months ago, I think. It was just like, hey, DC may develop with David Goyer a Krypton show, essentially a Superman prequel show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of new news, but this week I think it was just announced that it's going to be at Sci-Fi, but it's still only in development, which I think in movie speak or TV speak, sorry, it's not even. I don't think we even have a pilot order yet, though. I think David Goyer is writing a pilot. The description of the show, I found it, and it goes like this. Years before Superman, the Superman legend we know, the House of El was shamed and ostracized. This series follows the Man of Steel's grandfather as he brings hope and equality to Krypton, turning a planet in disarray into one worthy of giving birth to the greatest superhero ever known.
I was surprised to see it going at Sci-Fi. I mean, DC's everywhere. You're going to have DC on all 3 networks, right? Well, wait, ABC. What is ABC? Not ABC.
No,
but CBS, NBC. You've got Fox. You've got the CW. You're going to have TNT possibly if Titans pans out, and now Sci-Fi. They're all over the place. It's like crazy, but I'm not going to lie. I'll just go right up front saying I'm interested in this, except my skepticism is just with it being Krypton, just the effects aspect of a show like this. Like, I feel like this would be the kind of story that would involve a lot of effects work. I mean, I'm sure it's going to do its own thing and not try to mirror the look of Krypton from Man of Steel. But I mean, if you imagine, say it did, that would be a lot of effects work for a TV show and big money. That would be my only skepticism about it. But otherwise, I would be interested in watching a show about Krypton because I would love to know more about Krypton. I mean, I'm somewhat interested in it. But what do you guys think of this, Bobby?
Of course you would, DC.
Oh,
guy.
Shut the fuck
up. Of course you would.
Okay, so from my perspective, I'm like you just barely said, I'm somewhat interested in it, only because just out of the nature of what it is in and of itself as a comic book adaptation or a show, I always feel that inner geek in me feel the obligation to at least try it out and see if I like it. So I'll definitely look at it no matter what. But on paper, it just sounds like, where's the real story there when you know kind of what's going to happen and you're just sort of looking for essential tentpole things that happen within the series. To me, and I sent you a text earlier in the week that sort of sums up how I feel about a Krypton show and a Gotham show. For me, it's like I get upset because it feels like they're tiptoeing around Batman and Superman. It's okay. If you've already established and said the film versions and the TV versions are completely separate, then why can't we just have a Superman show or a Batman show on TV? Why do we have to have things that are connected to them, around them, but not really about them and not be just them? I mean, it's like they're trying to say, you can't use them. We can only use them. And so you can do this, but we don't want you to touch this. But yet we'll have 2 Flashes. We'll have,
possibly 2 Green Arrows.
Yeah, possibly 2 Green Arrows. And that's okay. So I don't understand why they're so sacred that they can't be touched, that they can't make a TV version of those shows. So that's what aggravates me about a show like Krypton or about a show like Gotham, is that we can't just have the actual centerpieces of those things in and of themselves. How are they going to do Supergirl and handle Superman? Like, where is he going to be at? Like, how do they answer that? And that he's not there and he never appears on the show. To me, those things are just like, it's weird that they do that. And so they've already kind of essentially set up Green Arrow as being Batman for this DC television universe. And in a way, they've almost set up Flash as being Superman because he's the light and he's the good and he does all these things sort of by the book. And it's just like, why do we have to have these archetypes and not have the actual characters that are those archetypes in the television world? So that's my rant about the TV thing. As far as Krypton, I'll watch it and we'll see if it's good. But Sci-Fi, as far as I know, the only good series I've liked to date that they've done has been Battlestar Galactica, as far as Sci-Fi goes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you what you're saying about Superman and Batman. Especially the frustrating part about it with Batman is, like, in this new DC universe that they're creating, I mean, apparently they're starting Batman off when it's pretty late in his career. So you could even still do Batman, and even though it's already a separate universe, plus you could do it early in his career, and you're really not even somewhat being, crossing universes or anything. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But Jascha, I know you're not a big fan of this Krypton idea.
No, you know what? Like, but I'm with Bobby on that. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of Gotham show starting, but I will definitely give it a shot. Like, I'll give it a shot, and see. Okay, let's see what they can do and what they can come up with. But it's like Bobby said, it's like they tiptoe around these major characters and say, oh, they pick and choose who they're going to have doubles of. But if like everything's separate, why not have like a Superman show and a Clark Kent and a Batman show, that they can kind of tie in and then, have this, world living on the television screen, opposed to trying to wait and figure out how they're going to do it on the big screen. If you're going to have doubles of everybody as it is, you might as well just try, might as well go for it. I don't know. But I'm with Bobby on it. It's like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Like, I mean, I may not be a huge fan of the idea, but like I said, I will definitely give it a go.
Any interest in a Krypton show, Michelle?
More or less just because I'm kind of a sucker for backstory things. I like learning about how things originated and origin stories. So for that reason, I'm interested. But otherwise, it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of TV shows on my plate, and every TV season, I'm always like, oh, how many more am I going to add on? And something else exiting. I don't know. I'm mixed on it, I guess.
Right.
Curious.
I will say I am curious to see how they'll portray Krypton. Like, will they follow the Richard Donner, original Superman type Krypton? Or will it be more like a comic book version of Krypton? Or will it even be sort of like the Man of Steel Krypton, which they better not, because then I'll really get mad, because then it's like, well, how are you following that version of things, but yet you're supposed to be separate from the film? Yeah. So I'll really be upset if they start to try and go down that road.
No, I got to imagine it'll probably be something on its own. And I would say they'd just go after the comic book.
Yeah, that'll be
interesting to see. Definitely. So the Golden Globe nominations are this week. You're a big Golden Globes fan?
I'm an award show fan.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I watch them all. I take back. I watch all the TV and movie ones. I don't really watch the music ones anymore.
Yeah.
Those just get me all riled up. But, yeah. Me and my girlfriend get together. We watch them. We sit down and we have our ballots and we figure out what's going to happen. And, yeah, it's fun. It's good times.
I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with the Golden Globes. I mean, I like watching the show. I think it's an entertaining show to watch. And it's, fun watching, celebrities, hang out and sit at tables instead of just chairs.
Pretend like they like each other.
Pretend like, oh, look, let's talk to each other and blah, blah, blah. But the actual awards themselves and looking at the nominees, I'm like, please, come on. Like, I mean, and yeah, what? There's the Hollywood Foreign Press is 100 members, 100 mysterious members from around the world or something. And I don't know. Just every year, a lot of the stuff I see, and I think a lot of people see, in terms of stuff that gets nominated and stuff that ends up winning, it's like, come on, really. Yeah. I mean, not that the Oscars are perfect. Hey, we know with the Oscars too, it's a lot of politics and.
There's so much politics in both of them, honestly. And I mean,
nobody knows who it is. Is kind of a whole new level of what the fuck to me.
I think it's all just critics. It's got to be.
But the nominees came out. I'm not going to sit here and read all of them. I'll read some of the major categories, but best motion picture drama. We have Boyhood, Foxcatcher, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything. Best motion picture comedy or musical, we have Birdman, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Into the Woods, Pride, and St. Vincent. I forget what shows.
Real quick, does it bother anybody else as much as it bothers me when they nominate something that technically hasn't been released to the public yet?
Yeah, it always bugs me. I mean, and again, that's what I was saying. The people that I think are actually in charge of this are critics. I think they're people that actually get to see these things, so they kind of get the leg up on it all, and that's why they know. And yeah, it's all about politics and whatnot. But yeah, it does bug me when they're like, "Oh, we're nominating this one." I'm like, "It's not even out, dude. Not even limitedly. Yeah. It's not out."
Because Selma's not out right anywhere.
No,
but it'll be out before the end of the year.
Right. I mean, it's so Into the Woods. It'll be out on Christmas Day, right. But that's still a week and a half from today.
Yeah, they all have their screeners, so they see these things.
Yeah.
I guess to get into the award season, they'll get them squeezed in before the whole end of the year. And so they get that privilege of being able to say, we're nominating this based off of what we've seen on the screener, even though you haven't had a chance to see it in theaters yet for yourself. So we're already telling you that it's good. So go see it because it's going to be nominated.
Right. Best television series drama was The Affair, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones, The Good Wife, and House of Cards. Best television series comedy or musical was Girls, Jane the Virgin, Orange is the New Black, Silicon Valley, and Transparent from Amazon. Sorry, my reaction to Jane the Virgin, I didn't even know that was nominated until I just read that. I've never seen that show.
Jascha likes it, right?
Yeah,
I do. I watch it. It's quite entertaining. I've gotten a couple of my friends to start watching it because it's out of control. It really pokes fun at if you have any type of familiarity with novellas or soap operas. It really messes with you. It really makes fun of that type of genre of a show. And it's written really well, and it's funny. Like some of the scenes are laugh out loud funny, but then some of them are just that was funny.
So do you feel like do you feel like it's nomination worthy?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
Yeah, see, I think
absolutely not.
I think a lot of them are who's in the cool kid club kind of thing. Who's cool enough to be watching these shows,
or edgy enough, because it really is. It pushes the boundaries a little bit with, well, not maybe pushing the boundaries, but it explores on television. And this is a Fox show or it's a CW show?
CW.
It's a CW show. CW shows, they do a lot of the cotton candy love stories. And this is a very this girl's a virgin. She was artificially inseminated. It was just it really touches on some risque, conversations that kind of surprise you when you really get into the watching the show. They talk about sex and all this other stuff. In the CW, they may address sex, but I've never really. Maybe they're just trying to get a little bit more with edginess with shows like Arrow where people die, or television shows and things like that. But I don't know. It's interesting. That's why I dig it. It makes me want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, well, how many times has Modern Family won Golden Globe for?
Every year since it's been on,
and now it's not even nominated.
And this season's not been that spectacular.
Well, I dropped out of. I loved Modern Family, and I dropped out of Modern Family 1 or 2 seasons ago because it just kind of started to die.
Yeah, I have a friend, the same thing. She used to watch it all the time too, and then 1 or 2 seasons ago she dropped out, and I've kind of been hanging on. And it's one of those things now where it's it's Wednesday, what's on? Oh, I guess Modern, and I'll have it on the background, but it's nothing that really draws me in.
Yeah. But looking at these best motion picture drama, I've only seen one of these films. Sadly, I've only seen The Theory of Everything, but The Theory of Everything was a good movie, but no. I'm sorry, it's not a nomination worthy film, and not in my opinion. I mean, how is Whiplash not on here? I don't know, that blows me away. But I don't know. The Golden Globes, I'll watch it, but I don't know what to think of it.
Amy Poehler and
Tina Fey are hosting
again. So, I mean,
that'll be fun to watch.
They're an awesome duo. They're fabulous hosts. I'm looking forward to that again.
Yeah. No, they're good hosts. Though I did like Ricky Gervais hosting. He was fun.
I liked Ricky Gervais too. And I know a lot of it. Basically, he pissed off Hollywood.
Yeah.
Is what happened. He pissed off Hollywood.
Sounds like it, yeah.
But any other takeaways from the nominations, guys? Anything you saw in there that you're bummed that wasn't nominated, or do you even care?
No, nothing really that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Just, I always look forward to seeing it just because, there's alcohol being served and, there's shenanigans that always end up happening.
Yeah. I will say Girls being nominated too for comedy or musical television series. I liked Girls, and I watched Girls for the first 2 seasons. But I think I tried to watch. What season are they on now? 3 or 4? I don't even know.
I think 3, if I had to guess.
I mean, hey, I haven't been watching this whole season. I started it, and I just nope. This show is, I guess you could say, jump the shark for me.
I was just about to say, and again, it's who's in the cool kid club, because most people I know, most of my friends, none of them watch Girls. I didn't even know you watched it.
I used to. I liked it.
I know people that never
but it
never
got to
it,
just a point where I was like, okay, this show's going nowhere.
Well, and everybody said, like, I hear good reviews on Silicon Valley, but I don't know anybody who watches.
Silicon Valley is a good show. I like Silicon Valley a lot.
That's what I was trying to think of. Silicon Valley is
that's
brilliant.
a good show.
See, I didn't know you watched that either.
Yeah.
And then everybody watches Orange is the New Black.
Except me. I haven't seen it.
I've never seen it either.
It's a good show.
Everybody says it's amazing.
It is.
Hold on to amazing.
That's what I hear. Everybody I know that watches it says it's absolutely the best thing since sliced bread.
Wow. No, they are dead wrong.
That makes me happy to hear.
The first season was good. The second season was okay.
I haven't seen second season. That's why. Because I thought the first season was amazing pretty well.
Oh, yeah. No, the first season was amazing. I'll go with amazing on the first season. Like, wow, this is so original. This is so great. This is awesome. But it's like, well, second season? Probably not.
Well, and then everybody, House of Cards is supposed to be really good, and I've not seen anything about House of Cards. But I have to say, though, it's an interesting commentary on our society now, when most of the nominations for things are coming from not traditional television networks, but even just the online industry that we have going. Those are Netflix and what was one Amazon, you said, Dave?
Yeah, the Transparence from Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting that these shows that aren't on a regular network are really, and that has been for the past 2 years or so, I would say, that those have really started taking off in popularity. Like last year, it was all about True Detective, which was good. But
I mean, none of the comedy or musical nominees are from a major network. They got two from HBO, one from Netflix, Amazon, and then the CW.
And Downton Abbey's from PBS.
And then, drama, you've got one on a major network, The Good Wife. And that's it.
Right.
The rest are Netflix, HBO, PBS, Showtime.
It's very interesting, I think, that's the direction that we're going into and have been for a little while, really since HBO kind of jumped in with Sopranos and Sex and the City. But it's interesting how it's really taken off, especially in the last 2-3 years. And now we're getting things from Netflix and Amazon. And I mean, I would not have thought that that's the way we were going to go if you'd asked me that a couple of years ago, that it was going to get that intense this way.
And hey, how the fuck does Everything Is Awesome not get nominated for Best Song?
I don't know.
What the hell is wrong with the world?
I don't know.
That song is awesome.
And it controls your mind the minute you hear it.
Does.
It really does.
That bad boy
Even if you don't know the words.
That bad boy sneaks up into your head while you're in the shower, and then you're done for the rest of the day.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is awesome.
See, you started them up, dude.
Thanks.
We've lost Jascha.
And that's exactly what I'm just. Everything is awesome.
All right, moving on. So we haven't really touched on the whole Sony hacking scandal on here. And I don't know. It's a funky thing that's going on over there. I don't even know what to say about it.
I saw a headline for it, so I honestly don't know what.
They don't know what's going on?
No?
Oh, I know all about it.
Oh, yeah. But Bobby could probably talk about it best. And I mean, mainly I'm bringing it up for the Spider-Man aspect of this story.
Oh, yes.
And that's kind of where I was just going with it. But maybe, Bobby, if you want to give a quick background of where all of this is coming from. Sounds like you know a synopsis of the drama that is unfolding over at Sony.
Yeah, really quick, I'll just say that it all kind of started where they got hacked, and then some information just sort of came out. You're just thinking, okay, well, some of their stuff got leaked in terms of their movies, and it could be torrented and downloaded. And so at first that was sort of the bulk of it. And then all of a sudden, it sort of snowballed from there, because then we started hearing email exchanges between Amy Pascal, who's I think the CEO or head of Sony's picture division, and then one of the other people that worked there, and they were making exchanges about Angelina Jolie playing Cleopatra, and she wanted David Fincher to direct that film, and I guess they wanted David Fincher to direct the Jobs film, and so there was some back and forth between Amy Pascal and this other guy, where the other guy was sort of calling out Angelina Jolie and saying, she works for us in terms of the films. These are our films. We don't have to kowtow to what she wants. And, all this stuff back and forth. And I guess that caused a little tension between Amy Pascal and the other guy. I can't remember his name, but it caused a lot of tension between them. And so that was one aspect of the story. And then within some of the other aspects that started to leak out was that same Amy Pascal was talking to another executive somewhere, and they were talking about President Obama and saying, we have one of those Hollywood luncheons where, they donate money to the Democratic Party and all that. And they were like, well, what do you think Obama's favorite movies are? Do you think he likes Kevin Hart? Do you think he liked Ride Along? How about 12 Years a Slave? And, it's just like all this stuff that they were saying back and forth. And so that was another aspect. And then another conversation came out where the same Amy Pascal was talking to Tom Rothman over at Fox, and they were talking about Will Smith and his kids and how strange a family they are. And so it just started ballooning out from there. But then one of the centerpieces of the story was about Spider-Man and how Marvel and Sony were in talks to have Spider-Man be a part of this Civil War with Captain America 3. And the talks broke down based on control, because there was like a certain percentage split that Kevin Feige and Marvel wanted. I think it was like a 60-40 in terms of control and contributions to the project. And Sony didn't want to give up that control. But one of the ensuing things that's kind of come out recently, and this is something I don't know if we talked about on the show, but I think I had mentioned it to David at one point, was that the reason why a lot of the Sony execs here were so against doing anything as far as trying to either sell back Spider-Man or to let Marvel use it was because a lot of those guys like Avi Arad and some of the other Sony execs, they were the ones who got the deal in the first place to get Spider-Man. And so they kind of consider it their baby. And so they don't want to give up on their baby, and they want to continue to have it. Whereas you got to remember that the name Sony isn't an American company. It's a Japanese company. And so the execs over in Japan, Sony Pictures and Columbia Pictures is just a division, one part of Sony. And it's not making them a lot of money, as opposed to some of their other areas too that are losing money. And so they're kind of looking at it from a business standpoint and saying, I don't care what you think this is your baby. We have it. And if it can make us money in some sort of way, we're going to go about that. And so I had been reading recently that even though talks had broken down, they're not necessarily dead, and something still may come from it. If not now, maybe sometime down the road. So that's kind of the gist of where some of the Sony leak stuff is at now. But I think they just released some new stuff today about some more leaks, and they said that they gave it to reporters. They sent them an email link saying, here's some more stuff. And then within that stuff they sent today, they said, expect a nice Christmas gift. So they have something really big, I guess they're planning to give to people pretty soon here for them to report on. So it's a pretty big mess over there at Sony, because not only that, they have information about the employees and their social security numbers and their medical records and all this other stuff. So it's a pretty big thing going on over there right now.
And to be clear, though, I think when it comes to the upper execs in Japan, the upper execs of Sony maybe not being so much like, hey, maybe we still want to have talks with Marvel about this. Like, that part of the story, from my understanding, is more coming from Latino Review and sources they apparently have, not from like hacked emails.
Right.
So that part of it doesn't have like diehard like, hey, we have evidence of emails of like these conversations. So that's more more rumor, I guess, but it's pretty crazy. Spider-Man and back in the MCU. I say back in the MCU at all. That would be,
it is crazy.
That would be interesting to see.
I just think it's going to happen eventually. I mean, where they are at, and the fact that they were having talks, and based on how they left things at that split, if they go back to the table, I'm sure they'll work something out at some point. So I just feel like it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like they're making progress, which is cool, because I think I think that'd be a lot of fun if they could get Spider-Man back in, even if it's a partial control. I mean, that's a fair split, 60-40 for, I don't know all the details and stuff like that, but that seems pretty legit. Like, it's not like they're trying to rip them off. Like, oh, we want an 80-20 split on, controlling of this character for this. But it's like, 60-40, it's like, dude, we have the story. It's our story. We have all these other actors that are coming and bringing this to the table. Like, why would you not want to be a part of this type of thing?
Yeah. And David, did you read the other part of what they were specifically thinking of doing with Spider-Man?
I guess not. No.
Well, okay. So part of it was they were going to do the one movie deal with Civil War. And then it went from that to maybe thinking that they would give Marvel a trilogy to let them handle a Spider-Man trilogy. And that would be the deal. And then after talks broke down, I guess they said that Sony was considering doing a script, taking it into a direction of comedy with the guys that did 21 Jump Street and the Lego movie.
I did hear about that part.
Lord and I forget the other guy's last name.
Yeah,
but those guys, and taking it into a purely comedy direction. And I don't know if they mentioned that would be live action or in some sort of like CGI, but they were totally, that's where it left off at. Like they were going to maybe do it in that kind of direction. And the latest I heard is that I guess either in January or February, Sony is having something that they're calling a Spider-Man Summit, where they basically are going to sit down and try and figure out the future for this character, because it really is their bread and butter and it's their biggest thing and biggest concern. So they're going to try and sit down and figure out what they want to do with the character.
Why not reboot it again? Come on.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. Let's just reboot it.
I need another good Spider-Man origin story.
Oh, yeah.
No, God.
Why are we bullshit? It's like, why are we bullshitting with it? Why are we just bullshitting with it? Let's just get it done. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over
Well,
it.
they did say that, like, if Marvel was able to get the Spider-Man, that they were going to recast. They didn't say they were going to reboot. They were going to recast. They were going to not.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I would imagine
just
Marvel would want to do their own thing.
Themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I saw some of that stuff, I mean, that didn't seem surprising to me. I wouldn't imagine that'd be surprising to anyone, because
I guess some people thought that Garfield portrayed him well enough that they might just carry him over. But
and I agree that I like Garfield as Spider-Man, but I can't see why Marvel would want to stay connected to that.
Yeah.
See, but it's like, I think if they recast him, well, not recast him, but if they kept Garfield and then just altered the character's persona just a little bit, like, let's get rid of the what is it? The Twilight hair and all that crap. Like, he might be, he might do a good job at it, because I thought he did a really good job when he was in costume. What'd you say?
The Twilight hair.
I'm telling you, man. We've all seen it. Like, this thing, his hair is almost has his own contract to be in the movie. I mean, Jesus.
Well, it's funny because they did say, like Marvel said, what they would, I guess their plans for the character, had they have gotten him back, it was they were going to scale way back and scale down the romantic aspect of it and focus on him being Spider-Man and having like a regular life as well, which is like the core of who the character is just him trying to be this everyday person, but still out there risking his life against these bad guys. And so that's kind of like, you think Sony would say, yeah, why don't we just focus on that aspect of him being trying to have
what the character is.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like such a no-brainer, and the fact that Marvel, it was like, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to stick to what the character's about. And that was their sort of like idea to just make it fixed. It seems funny that Sony is trying to make the character into something that it's not specifically.
Right.
Yeah, like, do we need Stalker Spider-Man? Do we really need Spider-Man? Like, I don't think we need Stalker Spider-Man, but, whatever.
So we talked about on here how Star Trek 3 lost its director, Roberto Orci. Have you guys seen this hashtag campaign going around? Bring in Riker?
No, nuh-uh.
Yeah, I guess there's been a hashtag campaign to get Jonathan Frakes to direct Star Trek 3. And he commented on it, and apparently he and his agent are actively pursuing it. Like he really, really wants to direct Star Trek 3.
Because he directed, which ones did he direct?
He's directed First Contact and Insurrection, I think.
Yeah.
I actually have a quote here. I don't know who he was talking to, but he said, "I would love that job. I say unabashedly, I'd be great at it and would love to do it. I'm trying to get the lid on. I'm trying to keep the lid on how excited I am about the possibility, knowing it's such a long shot. But there's nothing I would like better." So apparently he really, really wants the job. Of course he does.
Well, yeah.
He hasn't worked in 15 years?
I think he's been doing stuff. I think he's been busy, but nothing like anybody, like nothing out there.
He's got to fill in his time with the random episode here on Criminal Minds and the random, NCIS over here for an episode or two. And
he's been directing TV episodes of stuff.
Yeah,
So, I mean, he's working, but not like feature-length film work lately. No. I don't know. I can't. That's not going to happen. It's funny, but Riker. Have Jonathan? You imagine Jonathan Frakes direct that?
I mean, I'd like to see it.
I wouldn't. I'm not against it. Yeah, I'd be all for it.
I mean,
but I don't know.
It seems strange because of like the fact that he hasn't been doing anything in a while. And for it to be, the only trepidation I have for it is the fact that you wouldn't want him to mess it up. And not to say that he would, but obviously Paramount has a lot riding on the Star Trek franchise. And with JJ not there and whoever they use to fill in this role now that Orsi's gone, it's going to be pretty important. And so I would hate to have that much pressure riding on Frakes' shoulders. Like maybe if he did the next one after this one, that'd be better because he has sort of a little bit less pressure and maybe they could sort of get him prepped for it. But coming into this situation, I think it'd be just too much on him to try and sort of just be plopped into this cold. I could be wrong. Maybe he could knock it out of the box and be great at it. But to me, I think you might need someone that maybe is just already able to be dropped into it and can go, because I don't know that that's an easy thing to do. And I guess the first proof of how well that can work will come when we see Ant-Man, because Peyton Reed got dropped into that after Edgar Wright left. So, and they still were able to seem like they had a good production. Right. Everyone on the set seemed to have been pretty happy with the product. And so you want that same sort of thing to happen with Star Trek now that Orsi isn't there, to be able to have something smooth. And, I would definitely love it from a fan's perspective to see Frakes take over and be able to direct, but I'd be scared for him to go under that pressure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the movies, the first two, they're so stylized. There's a specific look that they have to them. And Frakes has his own style of directing and his own look. Like when you see his things, you kind of get his feel the way he does things. And I just don't know if maybe he's the fit for that per se. Yeah. Especially, like you said, maybe not for number 3, because everybody's pretty pumped for this third one. Maybe, 4 or 5 if they're going to keep going. Right. Yeah, I could see that. But I think it'd be cool for him. I think for him as a human being in the Star Trek world, like that's awesome. But
it'd be cool. You'd pump up the Star Trek fan base. There's no doubt. Not that it needs to be pumped up. I mean, they're going to come anyway. But it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. No. But it's nice that everybody's trying.
Yeah.
The love for Riker lives on.
It's a noble effort, fellas.
It is.
Yeah.
Great. Good job. But no.
So did you guys see this quote from James Gunn about the Guardians of the Galaxy Adventures crossover possibility?
No, please.
Nobody see this?
No.
Enlighten.
I wouldn't read too much into it. The couple things I saw that, brought this up made it seem like, hey, he's kind of nixing the idea that there's going to be a crossover. But I don't think he's really doing that. Like, it's anything could still happen. He was talking to Hal Rudnick over at Screen Junkies,
And if I remember the question right, I have his response here. But if the question was like, hey, Avengers 2 is apparently going to be a much darker film. How do you feel like that's going to, affect Guardians of the Galaxy 2? And his response was, quote, we're trying to make Avengers affected as little as possible. We are really separate from the Avengers, and I don't think people should assume too many things about the Guardians play in all this. We have our own galaxy to take care of. We have our own galaxy to save. Earth is the Avengers' province. Thinking that everything is going to come together in a perfect way is not necessarily the way it's going to happen. End quote. So, I mean, yeah, you could read that and go, yeah, he's kind of saying, hey, just because you assume like Guardians are going to show up like in Avengers 3 or something, it may not happen that way. But I don't know. I could still see it happening.
It'll happen. It's just, I mean, they built it up too much. Yeah. And Kevin Feige knows what he's doing. And obviously, they don't want to put that out there right now when we haven't even seen Guardians 2 and we haven't even seen Avengers 2. So it's too early to be really talking about those things. But rest assured, between that part 1 of Avengers 3 and the next one, there's got to be some of the Guardians that show up. I mean, you'll hear a lot of people screaming foul if they don't show up and see some sort of crossover with Avengers in some sort of way.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think he sounds like he's just trying to put the reporter in and say, hey, get your foot back on first base. You need to go back home. We need to stay in your corner. We'll get there eventually, but stop getting so crazy so early.
Let's not get ahead of each other. Get ahead of ourselves, and let's just pace ourselves. And, we paced ourselves so far, and we're winning the race. So, like, why take off running?
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, not much to really, I guess, say about this, but some Star Wars names were revealed this week. All of the new characters that we saw in the trailer were given names in a pretty unique way. I think the story originated on Entertainment Weekly, and they showed it in the form of old school Star Wars trading cards, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love the way they did that.
So yeah, I guess in the film, Oscar Isaac's character, if you don't know, the guy that we see piloting an X-wing in the trailer, his name is Poe Dameron. Daisy Ridley's character is Rey. John Boyega, the guy in the Stormtrooper armor, is Finn. The droid is BB-8. And the unnamed actor we see wielding that new lightsaber is named Kylo Ren. Yeah, not much to say about that, but in case you're interested. But I did find it interesting. Mark Hamill, I guess, was talking to Yahoo Movies, and he apparently revealed that BB-8 droid, it's not an effect. It's like a practical prop.
Oh, wow.
That blows me away,
That blows me away.
Yeah.
Like,
I read that, and I was like, are you kidding me? That thing is real? Because he sounded pretty amazed when he saw it.
Yeah, I mean, if you read like his quotes, and I can bring him up here, he was talking about how they let him like drive it around the set and how amazing it was. What? And like, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Now I really can't wait to see this thing.
Yeah.
I know over on the replica prop forums, which is really a common, really popular forum for people who do cosplay. I know they've got, I think, a thread over there right now where a lot of them are all speculating on how could you practically make something like this? Because, you got a lot of droid builders out there that make R2 units. And,
oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you've got guys that are like dying to be the first person to somehow replicate this out in the wild. But yeah, man, that's pretty badass.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I even said when we talked about the trailer, I'm like, well, that was a cool effect. That looked really awesome. I'm like, if that was real, like, that's badass.
Yeah, it is. It's just incredible because you totally think, especially at the way the speed is going and the look at the bottom of the ball, you're just like, that has to be a special effect. There's no way. Like, where's technology that someone built something like that could do those things?
I know.
So yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, I want to see that. I'm more excited about the droid now than in the movie.
Well, let's overanalyze it and talk about it for the next 3 hours.
All right, let's do it.
So, about the shows out there doing that.
Jesus.
Hey. All right.
No, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the Star Wars news as much as the next guy, but like, I mean, I saw it like when we did when they released the names, and I was like, I read it, and I was like, okay. And then like the next thing I knew, I saw all these different forums and articles, like everybody was talking. I'm like, oh god, it's the trailer all over again. Like, and then comingsoon.net does an article every week on Fridays for this week in Star Wars news, and I'm like, I don't even bother reading it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, dude, seriously, what is there that they have really talked about or addressed in the matter of like this amount of time? Like, it's nothing right. Nothing at all.
Yeah, and I've gone on record as saying that I probably won't watch any more footage between now and then, anything extra. Like, we'll talk about stuff that may pop up in the news. And even if there's a trailer and you guys watch it, I probably won't watch it. But not seeing it and just hearing about it, like, that'd be fine. But just actually visually seeing it between now and the time that it comes out, I can wait. I mean, it's not going to be like... It's not like I'm going to be waiting for Batman versus Superman in terms of how much longer there is to wait for it. So I can hold off until December in terms of seeing some more footage and just kind of getting the hype for the excitement. Well,
so I was going to say, like,
Avengers.
How are you?
Yeah, I guess that'll be hard to avoid. And we'll see. I'll play it by ear. We'll see.
Because last we talked, you made it sound like you'll watch that, but that'll be it.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to think I might not even watch that, but we'll see as it gets closer.
I mean, I can't imagine.
Well, because I don't think I need to see anymore.
I'm right there with you, I guess, but you got more power than me if you can hold off not watching anything.
We'll see. I don't know yet. I guess it'll depend on because they'll sort of like get leaked about what the trailer is about. Like, you won't see it, but they'll give you a description of everything that's in the trailer. And based on that description, I may or may not watch the trailer.
Because there's no way you're going to avoid images. I mean, you read too much film news. Like, how are you not going to come across, like, pictures of the trailer and stuff like that?
Well, that's pretty easy to avoid because it'd be in the title of the story. So I just wouldn't have to click on the story to see the pictures other than the main frame picture that they use for the story. But I don't so much mind seeing the pictures. I just don't want to see it, I guess, all in motion out of context. I think I just see it all laid out as one film.
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do it, but I understand. All right. Well, with that, I think it's about time we get out of here. As usual, we'd like to know what everybody thought of the show, everything we talked about today. You can let us know by emailing us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. You can find links to those accounts on our website over on the right-hand side, and YouTube as well. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Jascha Wilson.
I'm Michelle Curry.
Thanks for listening.